Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. Happy Friday. It's Freedom Family Friday. Joining us in studio for her usual Friday appearance is my lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson. Let's give her a round of applause. What do you say? Hi, Steffi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you today.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on today. We are streaming live today on multiple platforms, as well as Instagram today. We're still
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
I saw people filing in.
Yeah, we're still sort of working out the bugs and getting Instagram set up. It would be nice if it was as functional as, YouTube and all these other platforms, but basically this is just kind of a new technology for us to be able to stream not only to multiple other platforms, but to stream in a way that is a heads up, right, for people's cell phones.
Different screen sizes are just too much. Just have one universal screen size.
I mean, it would be nice, but most people like to watch it on their mobile phones. So for those who are on Instagram this morning, please bear with us. There will be times when we will be talking about an audio clip that you might not be able to hear.
Right.
Although I'll try to explain it to you and narrate to you the best that I can. There may be times when we're playing a clip that you can't necessarily see perfectly because it's not going to pop up on your screen. So listen, we're just going to do the best we can, make the best of it. And for those of you who are, and if it's too annoying for you, join us over on YouTube. That's way more fun anyway, because we've got a huge group of people joining us over there.
On Twitch, they can join us. On Twitter, they can join us. Facebook, YouTube.
Lots of great ways to enjoy the Wake Up America show. Also, we are closing in here now on 2 weeks with our buddy Nathan Clark. Let's give him applause.
A nice job. Really like him.
And people are starting off the Save Our Calvin fundraiser already.
Oh my gosh.
Michael Nip already sent us $20 in super chats. Michael, you're the man.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate that.
He's going to be starting his therapies next Thursday.
Do you want to give people an update on how Calvin's doing?
Sure. Yeah, well, this morning I had to come back home real quick, and he was at the door. So he is starting to wobble around. He's very, very motivated, and he's very strong on his front legs. And so he's able to scoot himself around, but his back legs are actually starting to gain some strength, but he's still falling from side to side. And we are noticing, the left side is weaker, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see improvement. I see hope. I mean, I'm very, very optimistic that he's going to return to almost normal, especially with the therapies.
Yeah, so we're going to start physical therapy here soon. So all of our donations that are made today are going into our Save the Calvin Fund, Save Our Calvin. And
so we have no idea how much physical therapy costs. I mean, I've Googled it, and it's anywhere from $30 per session to $70-something per session, and it'll be like water therapy. So I'm sure we got to pay for the water bill too.
Right. But the good news, is that we have hope that he will make at least a partial recovery.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he's definitely not going to be completely paralyzed. I'm convinced of that.
Well, and that's
at least right now.
At least for now. Now, in the future, it might happen. Is Stephanie's microphone a little bit echoey? Yeah, that's something we're kind of dealing with right now. We'll do our best. If I turn it down a little bit, I wonder if that'll help with things.
Is that helping?
Yeah, let me kind of crank it down a little bit. It might be just that it's too.
I talk really loud. I'm sorry.
So just try and focus your audio across the microphone, instead of like up and around all over the place.
Okay.
That will help. I know you look a little stiff, and I'm sorry about that.
I know it's hurting my neck.
I know. One of these days we'll have like just an amazing studio with perfect sound quality and everything, and it won't be Austin and Nathan and Stephanie doing it all on their own. But we're not there yet, but we're working on that way. Thanks to people like Michael Nip for help make it happen, as well as Hi-Fi Cat for helping make it happen. John Rail as well. Amanda.
Are they all giving money right now?
Well, they're all like monthly subscribers. So Amanda.
So they are giving money. That's amazing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Hi-Fi Cat is a Freedom Ninja, so that's a 3-monther. Wow. John Rail has got the Karate Kid next to him. Amanda she says that's a little bit better, so that's good that we've
great.
The audio is picked up a little bit. But when Amanda's got the gold bars next to her name, that means that she's a 2-monther, so she's almost got her Freedom Ninja status.
Yeah, she's been waiting for it. She said it was 2 weeks, and that was I think about 2 weeks ago.
So it's almost she's going to become a ninja, and then you get like the flintlock pistol, which is the next one, I believe.
Oh wow, has anyone gotten that?
Nobody's gotten that yet. We haven't had the membership program around that long yet, so nobody yet is a ninja or is a flintlock. Hi-Fi Cat just sent us $5. Wow, thanks guys. Happy Friday. Yeah. I guess. And what's fun too is it pops up the super chat, the little coins pop up on the screen.
Yes, I do notice that.
Yeah, you can't see it on Instagram, folks. Sorry about that if you're watching us over there. But
they give Super chats on Instagram? I
No,
don't
they
know
don't
how
have
it
anything like
works.
that.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. If they want to support us for through Instagram, check out apforlibertyshop.com.
Right.
John Rail just sent us $10. Thank
Oh my
you.
gosh, you
Wow,
guys.
we haven't even really started yet. We're
I
already
know.
killing it. Thank you, John. You're really making our day.
How many physical therapy sessions we're able to pay for now with these super chats?
Well, probably about we've almost got enough for at least one full therapy session. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, usually I like to reinvest things in our employees or our equipment, but this week is making an exception. We're going to spend some money on Calvin. So, all right. So, what's first top of the story? Let me introduce the show. We're supposed to be talking about the news.
Just
The
talk about Kelvin all day.
No,
It's fun.
we're talking about so Senator Mitch McConnell on the warpath against Rick Scott for that proposal that got Republicans heated at the State of the Union this week when Joe Biden, in a master stroke, got the Republicans to boo him because he dared to suggest that they might disagree with him. No, the Republicans say, "Boo, we agree with you, Joe Biden. We don't want to cut the welfare state here in this country. We want to continue to drain the pockets of the youthful, productive people in our society. We want to prevent the young people in America from being able to afford homes. We want to prevent them from being able to go on a vacation. We want to prevent them from being able to have a second or third or fourth child by taxing them mercilessly to pay for the boomers in Florida and to ensure that they will continue to collect Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security at the expense of the young in this country." And they say it's not an entitlement plan. Oh, they say it's not an entitlement plan because they took your money in the first place and they should give it back. And while I would agree with that in sentiment, the reality is that in practice, those people collect far more from these plans than they actually put into them, unless you die before, which is the fascinating thing about Social Security is if you're black, you don't live as long as white people in this country. Your life expectancy is less.
Sure.
So African Americans, by and large, pay into Social Security programs, but then African American men die at like 10 years earlier than white men do in this country. So
Sad.
they never get to collect the Social Security that they worked into and paid for their whole lives. So please
Yes.
keep defending the entitlement state.
I mean, in a way, I'm kind of touched that the Republicans and Democrats agreed for one small moment.
Mhm.
But then on the other hand, I'm like, but look what you're agreeing on.
They
This
only
is not
agree.
touching.
The government only agrees when they agree how hard they want to because
I know.
it's only so it's not my kind of agreement.
But it is beautiful to see them getting along for a second.
No, it's not. I would prefer them to be at each other's throats. How about you?
Yeah, I
Let's
think that would be better. That would make more change.
this is Senator. Okay, let's play that clip of Joe Biden talking about that here real quick. We'll head over to our Twitter weirdness scene. If you're watching us on Instagram, you're gonna be like, "What the hell? I can't hear it. I can't see it. Sorry."
Okay,
It's
picture Joe
just
Biden.
picture Joe Biden at the State of the Union address, and he's calling out the Republicans for suggesting that they might want to cut the welfare state. Take a listen.
Some of my Republican friends want to take the economy hostage. I get it, unless I agree to their economic plans. All of you at home should know what those plans are. Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you, I enjoy conversion.
I enjoy conversion. I enjoy when Republicans agree with me about the entitlement state. I enjoy when Republicans are essentially Democrats in red ties.
I'm sure he loves it. The one statement he said was that the wealthy giving their fair share. That's the part that just makes me cringe.
Mm-hmm.
What is a fair share? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
the wealthy people
That
have to give something?
yeah,
Is that
that's
their responsibility?
oh yeah, you owe if you dare get wealthy in this country, you owe it to give to have it stolen from you and given to somebody else. But there's a Thomas
Some
Sowell.
words are just so twisting in my
No, I
head.
know, no, but there's a Thomas Sowell quote about that where he says, how much are you entitled to of what someone else has worked for?"
Exactly. Who says that?
Yeah,
Who can make that
Exactly.
that dollar amount
Yeah. If you're
that
just
you're entitled to.
Exactly. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson, and my lovely wife Stephanie Peterson is joining us here in house. It's nice to see you, Steph.
Hello.
We're having fun on Freedom Friday. It's Freedom Family Friday, and we're glad that you're here and part of our family on the Wake Up America show. If you haven't yet, make sure that you click like if you're watching us on YouTube. Click like, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell notification icon so that you can know whenever we go live, which is every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And today, the fundraiser for all of our super chats go into our Save Our Calvin fund. So if you make a super chat, then all of the donations goes to save our poor little pup whose back legs are paralyzed and who we're hoping will make a recovery.
And if anyone's wondering the actual medical condition, we did verify it is IVDD.
Yeah,
What is it?
introvertible disc disease.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's continue on with the topic for the news. Everybody doesn't want to talk about our dog all the morning. This is
I mean,
Senator.
I love animals.
I know. This is Senator Mitch McConnell, and Senator Mitch McConnell's going after Rick Scott because where Joe Biden got that statement from was he said that it was Senator Rick Scott of Florida who introduced a federal plan that would sunset all federal legislation every 5 years if they decide they can renew programs, which I think is honestly a terrific idea.
If you like your program, you can keep
If
it.
you
This reminds me of kind of what you used
Very
to
funny,
say.
exactly.
If you like your senator, you can keep him.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that what you
so
used
when
to
I
say?
was running against Josh Hawley, which we're going to talk about him in just a minute because he's got a new plan to ban social media for kids. So when I was running against Josh Hawley, he was the current attorney general.
Oh, if you,
And
yeah.
he had been attorney general for like 2 minutes before he started to run for Senate. So whenever I would go around, my applause line would be to go around the state and speak at Lincoln Days. And I would say, if you like your attorney general, you can keep him.
That's right. It sticks in your mind.
It was a good one. Well, it was play on that old Barack Obama line. Everybody laughed and stuff like that. But I'm a damn good writer, but I'm a terrible politician. So which I think is fine. I think you probably appreciate the Wake Up America show. You wouldn't be seeing me here this morning if I was a senator. Let's continue here. This is speaking of Senator Mitch McConnell. I'd probably be his enemy number one, senator, instead of best friends with Josh Hawley. So here's him ripping into Senator Rick Scott.
The Republicans want to sunset Social Security and Medicare. So is that true?
Well, unfortunately, that was the Scott plan. That's not a Republican plan. That was the Rick Scott plan. The Republican plan, as I pointed out last fall, if we were to become the majority, there were no plans to raise taxes on half the American people or to sunset Medicare or Social Security. So it's clearly the Rick Scott plan. It is not the Republican plan. And that's the view of the Speaker of the House as well.
Here's what I don't understand, and maybe I'm wrong about this one, because they're talking about their plan, raise taxes. Are they
the African American people who said?
No. So they're talking about raising taxes, and I think what they mean when they're saying that is that if for example, Medicare were to disappear, right, and people would have to pay for their own health care, right, seniors is what that's for, then they would consider that a tax increase. It's not a tax increase if you pay for it. It's not a tax increase if you're paying for something out of your own pocket. If it doesn't go to the government, it's not a tax.
Right.
If you're going to pay for your own health care. Well, the thing is that we've created this entitlement state. So we've got all these senior citizens who are on these programs. So if you take them away, right, then they're going to freak out because they're like, I was planning on retiring and using Medicare, and I wasn't saving money my whole life. What is that? I wasn't preparing. I wasn't getting a 401k. I wasn't saving my money to do any of this kind of stuff.
Right.
I was just hoping that when I got old that the government would be there to take care of me.
I mean, it is kind of hard to save money when you're paying all these governmental fees from your paycheck.
Right, but then the thing is that the majority of the people who take money out of Medicare are taking way more than they ever paid into it. Right? It's like, and you get this small group of people who will take a massive amount out of these programs, far more than they paid into it because of health complications and all this stuff.
Sure.
And then they were smokers, right?
Right.
They were drug users, right? They were alcoholics, right? And they made all of these poor decisions their whole life. But now that they're old, it's too late for them to earn more money. But and screw the American taxpayer and people like you and I who are working. And here's the thing: just let us opt out. Let the young people opt out. If they're 18 years old, let them make a decision. Do I want to get into this program and pay into this my whole life and collect it at the end of my life, Medicare, Medicaid, or do I want to not have this taken out of my paycheck for the rest of my life, and I can't collect anything at the end of my life? I'm responsible for myself. Wouldn't that
Right.
be the kind of thing that we would like to see, that kind of reform?
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
I would definitely be interested in seeing that.
Yeah, I would like to see something like that here in the
Mhm.
United States. That's the kind of stuff that I would have proposed, but you know what? We just don't live in an Austin Peterson world. Now, here's Fox News.
That's the Austin Peterson plan, not the Republican plan.
Exactly. It's not the Republican plan, it's the Austin Peterson
Yeah.
plan. All right. I stand with Rick Scott on this one, but hold on. Here's Fox News. Here he is getting called out on Fox News for the same shit.
Recently put out an 11-point plan to rescue America, two of the big points of which are, quote, all Americans should pay some income tax. It also says all federal legislation sunsets in 5 years. So that would raise taxes on half of Americans and potentially sunset programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Why would you propose something like that in an election year?
Sure. Well, John, that's, of course, the Democrat talking points. It's a
No,
it's
in the plan. It's in the plan.
But here's this thing about reality for a second. First of all, let's talk about Medicare.
But Senator, hang on.
John.
So it's not a Democratic talking point. It's in the plan.
And here's the thing. If you don't like it, just re-up it, right? Like you've got this thing. Just do what the plan says, which is if you want to keep Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security and all this entitlement crap, then just renew the laws every 5 years. And
Exactly.
we do this with the military, by the way. When it comes to funding the military has to be funded every 2 years, I think. And so every 2 years they pass a continuing resolution and they fund the military and they continue to to protect our assets overseas.
Maybe they're scared that it won't be voted in
Well, of
time
course
and
they're
time
scared
again.
about that.
It's the same thing as voting for our elected officials, right?
Right.
We vote every so many years. It's the same thing.
Right,
Just
but-
vote for bills every so many years.
Yeah, for sure. That's all it is. You just have to, you could just take a vote. It could be a roll call vote, and you just say, okay, well, all of these federal laws that we have, we're going to just, re-up all of these laws, and we'll keep
Right.
them all, and just have a simple, straightforward vote on that.
But then the guy on the news, he was hung up on the income tax. What is he saying? The taxes are increasing.
That's what they keep saying, and it's
Right.
like, but I think what
Is
they're
that part of the bill as well, that the taxes are increasing?
I couldn't find that in this 15-point plan that he's talking about here, because what I think they're talking about here is if they got rid of Social Security and Medicare, the taxes would be that you would have to pay for your own health care, but that's not a tax.
Right.
It's not a tax. A tax is when the government steals money from you and gives it to somewhere else, right? That's a tax. Taxation being theft. Taxes are when the government takes your money. Taxes are not when you pay for your own health care. That's not a tax, right?
Right.
But Democrats
Because
call that
healthcare
kind of
is
stuff.
not a right, although people are saying it is.
People say it is a right, but it's not a
Yes.
right, right?
Yes.
You don't have to say that healthcare is a right is to say that a doctor is your slave,
Mhm.
right? So imagine a scenario like this, and I know people don't like these kind of hypotheticals, but I'm going to give you a hypothetical. Here we go. All right, you're on a desert island, and there's no doctor on the island, and you have a heart attack, and you need surgery, right? Do you go and you send armed men with guns in a helicopter to head to the mainland, kidnap a doctor, and force him to come to the island to give you surgery to fix your heart?
That sounds illegal.
Well, that's what we do every day, because at every hospital in the United States is the law, and you worked at a hospital,
I did.
that you are required to provide sustaining care to.
Mhm.
See, this is how we got Obamacare, and this is how we continue the socialization of our medical system here in the United States, is because at the very beginning, the hospital, we've broken the system by demanding that hospitals provide life-sustaining care to anyone who comes into their
Right.
hospital. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I think that they should morally, but I don't know that they should be required to legally, that they should be forced by law, mandated that every single person, that comes in and is like, I'm dying, has to be treated.
Right.
Like, I think that Catholic charities and hospitals and charities would exist that would, assure that there were funds and things like that. If you weren't stealing from us, if you weren't already bankrupting us with your confiscatory taxation at every level,
Mhm.
the city, the county, the state, the Fed, right? We are just awash with taxes. Some people in this country pay 60%.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, some people pay
It's the
60
fair share of the wealthy, right?
of what someone else
Yeah.
has worked
Mhm.
for. Yeah. What do you think about that? Elizabeth asked me the question. She says, AP, do you pay Social Security? Do you want the government to honor their contract with you? Listen, I'm not like regular people, okay? Keep it. All right. Let me out now. All right. I'm getting ready to turn 42 here in a week. Keep everything I've paid into it right now. Just let me out. Let me out now. Okay.
So you don't want any of it back?
I will forego it. You know what? I'll make an example of myself.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll take care of myself until the day that I die. I will forego it all now. But you have to stop stealing from me now as well. From now until the end of my life. Yes, I will forego those programs and any claim to the money that I've already paid into it over the last 25 years or so. And you can have it all if you just stop stealing from me right now. Okay. Because honestly, I feel like, financially that we're about to be on the verge of a breakthrough, right? Like with as well as things are going here with the Wake Up America show, how things are growing, monetization is growing, like the show continues to grow. I think that there's a chance that we could explode. And if we do, and we get really big and we're making a lot of money and all that stuff, I don't want to pay taxes for the rest of my life on that income. I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you anything. Neither does my wife, who works her ass off as well. Okay. Nobody,
in taxes
yes,
quarterly.
nobody owes you anything. It's not yours. Like it's not. What's your fair share of what someone else has worked for? That's the Thomas Sowell quote. Thank you. That's fine.
There you
There it
go.
was. Yes.
Subjective, completely subjective. There's no such thing as a fair share.
Yeah, there is. Exactly.
It'd
Correct.
be like saying, what's the fair share for a robber to take from you
Exactly.
when they hold you up at gunpoint?
Exactly. Thank you. All right. Did you see Senator Josh Hawley's proposal to ban social media?
Yeah.
What did you think about this?
It doesn't surprise me because he wants
loves
to
this
ban
kind of
porn
crap.
and video games and all the other pleasures of life.
I mean, but he did want to but
I feel bad for his kids.
I know. He's a constitutional scholar. He wants to ban. This is what it says. Senator Josh Hawley proposes a legal age to allow kids on social media. They already have rules. It's already 13 years old. Yeah.
This took me back to when I was an internet user, when I started using the internet at the age of 8. And yeah, it did say like, do you have a parent or guardian, allowing you to get on AOL? I used to go on AOL, and it's like my parents just let me go on the adult version.
Right,
They
but
didn't care.
it was because they had no clue.
Right. And so I think it goes back to parental education.
Right.
Parents need to be educated about the dangers of the internet.
Maybe that's what he needs to do. He needs to propose a law. Parents, it is illegal for parents to be retarded. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what we should do? We should pass a law that makes it illegal to be bad parents.
Right.
If we could, if Senator Hawley really cared about kids, he would pass a law that says it is illegal herefore in the kingdom of the States United for it to be a bad parent. There should be illegal.
Right.
Yes.
I understand he's trying to protect kids, but I feel like this plan is going to blow up in his face.
You know what else we should do? We should make it illegal to be a parent. Tell you what, if you really want to do it, we should raise the age to be a parent.
Oh,
there you go. And that will help us be, because probably a lot of these bad parents maybe are younger parents.
Right. So it can't be 18.
Well, and here's the thing.
Parent.
What we should probably do is, if we really care about the kids, we should make it not. You should have to be over 21 to be a parent.
Oh yeah.
And you should have to be under 35 to be a parent. And here's why.
Oh,
because then
I'm almost out of that.
Well, I know. Well, it's too bad because here's the thing: you won't understand this technology. So that's the thing: is that what if Josh Hawley really cared about the kids, he would ban people from having kids if they're older than 35. Because let's be honest, it's not the problem that the kids have access to the technology; it's the problem of the bad parenting. So what we should really be
are so unaware.
Exactly. And so since 35 years old and up tend to not understand technology, the law should be after 35 you are no longer allowed to have any kids after that.
Right. Because then you're just too old school and you just don't get it.
You just don't get it. You don't understand the technology. You're not going to be able to be a good parent. I think, parenting should be legally mandated between the ages of 21 to 35 and then no longer after that. No, you can't adopt. Okay. Adoption would be illegal. And, it kind of like China had the one child policy.
Sure.
Right. While we're being, total, authoritarian asshats.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think?
Just love how everybody knows that around the age of 25, your brain starts to be completely developed. But yet everyone makes all of these legal ages 18, 21. Like, what does that have to do with your brain development at all?
It's pretty much arbitrary.
These numbers. The number 16. Okay. Why would a 16-year-old use the internet better than a 15-year-old.
It's funny too because of like how much things have changed in terms of like how we view people's like legal age to do one thing or not another. And remember when we were watching that World War One video the other day, and we were watching all those British soldiers, and they were like 15 years old.
Yeah, they were very young.
They were like World War One was rife with child soldiers.
Andrew Jackson was 13
Yeah.
when he went to war.
Andrew Jackson was 13 when he was in the Revolutionary War and was captured and tortured by British soldiers.
Let's make the age 13.
13 years old to be, there you go, child
Yeah.
soldiers. Let's bring them back.
We got proof they can take it.
Yeah. Well, God, I wish I had saved that meme about the kids, like, that getting rid of child labor was a mistake because because Minecraft has shown that children yearn for the mines. The hell are you talking about, Austin?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Minecraft. I don't really follow that.
Kids, I know exactly. See, and that's the thing. That's why you shouldn't be able to be
35.
That's the thing. That's why you shouldn't be allowed to be a parent, because you don't understand the technology, and the kids could access the social media of the future and see you're just too old to be a parent.
They could be exploited on Minecraft, and I'll have no idea.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. You can text the show this morning at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. Are we ready to talk about stupid, harmless things that the government freaked out about?
Yeah, I thought the list was so interesting.
I knew you were going to love this topic. Yeah, this is the title segment of the piece of the show this morning. Stupid things harmless things that the government freaked out about.
It's not something harmless. I personally freaked out about the balloon.
Okay, the balloon was not harmless, no. But we're going to talk. We've got a list here from Cracked Magazine, which I am ashamed to admit I read every day still. Cracked Magazine's list of 15 things that the U.S. government absolutely freaked out about. We might agree with the list. We might not agree with the items on the list. That's up to you. You can send us a text at 573-319-1586. That's 573. Oh, Elizabeth Press is calling us out. She's on the dole. She's like,
what is she saying?
She goes, "Yet you asked for help paying your dog's health bills." GTFO. So people like that's always one of the big.
What is she saying? That we should
she's
be
mad
talking
because
about Social Security?
Yeah, she's mad because we're talking about getting rid of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. She's upset about that.
Oh,
but here's the thing: there's a
thing. Charity is different than force.
I don't get it. What people don't understand is like there's a difference between somebody saying, would you voluntarily like to help us do this,
right?
Which is how we would like society to be ordered, and it's clear evidence that people will do it.
Yeah.
And you sticking a gun in my ribs and pointing it at me and saying you will do this, and I'm taking it from you, and you have no choice. Exactly. Why don't people understand this?
Yeah,
Elizabeth, you got to go back to school. Number 15, tobacco companies. Last-ditch effort to halt the ban goes up in smoke. So menthol cigarettes. The Supreme Court said no to tobacco companies' emergency plea to stop a California ban on flavored tobacco products, which voters said yes to in November of 2022. It was passed 2 years before, but tobacco companies tried to stop it by putting it on the ballot. So things that the government freaked out about: menthol cigarettes. Remember when they were banning like the Juuls, the mint Juuls,
the yummy flavored vapes,
the ones that actually tasted good,
right? Because they were trying to prevent kids from getting them, right?
Well,
that was the issue.
Well, they just said that they always use kids as a shield.
Right.
But when it came to the thing, they just said that they were just too addictive. They tasted too good, and they've done this before,
right?
With like menthol cigarettes, where they want to ban menthols and stuff. Well, it's funny because they'll ban the vapes, but they'll legalize weed, and then they'll, ban menthol cigarettes. And it's like, vaping, I don't know if it's a healthier alternative. I would venture a guess that it probably is, although we need some actual studies to be able to make a determination on that.
Getting all the crap that's in the actual cigarettes.
Yes.
What is that? The black tar.
Yes, exactly. But here's the thing. I think that vaping is probably healthier than cigarettes. So what they're driving people to do is to go back to cigarettes, right? It's stupid. All right. Things
is hypocritical about all substances.
Yeah.
Alcohol's on the shelf. Alcohol is very harmful to your body as well. Prohibition doesn't help. That's what I say.
Exactly. Mini Coopers. U.S. Customs and Border Protection crushed a 2000 Mini as part of Operation Atlantic. It was a partnership with Great Britain to stop illegal car imports. It protects automakers and used car dealers by blocking cars younger than 25 years old from entering the United States.
What?
So they're trying to protect the American consumer from low prices on cars.
Because we have a lot of foreign cars that come here.
But so it's This is a rule that that blocks cars that are younger than 25 years old from entering the U.S. Right? So
My
it's
car is younger than 25.
well, this is it's a okay. So here's
That's
how this works.
interesting.
Right. So it's a partnership with Great Britain to stop illegal car imports. So
Oh, illegal.
there are legal car imports and
Mhm.
there are illegal car imports, and some car imports are legal, some are not. But this is a way to save us essentially from low prices.
Free trade.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Stephanie. I love that. It's a nice phrase.
What's car gonna do to us? How is it gonna hurt us?
It's going to cost less than the ones that they artificially jack up the prices on and make us pay, exorbitant fees on, right? So there was a 2000 Mini Cooper that came in, and then so Operation Atlantic is Great Britain and the United States cooperating to prevent cars that are newer cars from being imported illegally into the United States. Oh God, please save us, government, from purchasing a car at a lower fee. Because you know what it is? It's to protect U.S. auto dealers and automakers.
Sure. I
It's
mean, I
protectionism.
came from Michigan. That's the auto
Yeah.
capital of America.
It's about protecting us from free trade and lower
Mm.
prices. Yeah. British lamb imports. British
Oh,
lamb
lamb, like
imports.
animal lamb.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. So the U.S. has lifted its ban on British lamb imports. This was a 32-year restriction.
So we couldn't bring lambs over from Britain?
Yeah. So there was a British lamb import. Apparently, there was like a disease that they had for a while, which this is not like the biggest deal in the world, but still,
Yeah.
32 years is a long time to not be bringing in.
But yet we could probably bring lambs in from other countries, right?
Yeah, Quest Fanning says that he loves the vintage loophole. Yeah, for vintage cars, if you import them, then it's
Oh.
fine. But like new cars that are younger than 20 years old, you can't. That's absolutely not.
It just confuses my mind.
Okay, guac blockade. I love this one. Avocados. So the United States has blocked avocados from Michoacan, Mexico,
Uh-huh.
because a U.S. health official got a threatening message on their phone while inspecting in Uruapan, Michoacan.
Oh, so he was unsafe while he was inspecting the avocados.
A
So he's
U.S.
like,
health official felt unsafe.
we can't bring them here anymore.
Yes. So
Yeah.
they ban avocados from a region because a U.S. health official got an angry message on his cell phone.
Oh.
He had his feelings hurt.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, bullying is bad.
A mean tweet. Okay. Yeah. Cost the industry $3 billion. All right. Japan's food safety, Japanese food for 10 years. In 2021, the United States finally lifted restrictions on Japanese food imports.
That's something. Speaking of
Yes.
Japanese food,
No kidding.
gosh,
Introduced after Fukushima, after Japan showed their food inspection system is safe.
because of the radiation.
Yes,
Mm.
this includes rice, mushrooms, wild plants, and veggies. Yeah, you know what the weird thing is about radiation, and like I've been slowly kind of introducing you to more of the background on the atomic bomb.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I've been slowly introducing you to more radiation.
No,
I was-
no, no. God, Stephanie, here's Joe Biden for you
You're
here.
a stupid son of a bitch.
Wow, Joe.
Joe's mean,
I
but
mean, I feel the same.
if Joe was
about
looking
you?
exactly, if Joe was here looking at my wife right now, you know what he'd say? He'd say,
And look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there with her, like a little lady with her legs crossed.
Oh, my legs are crossed. This is creepy. Oh my gosh.
Very funny.
Joe.
Chris Morrill says controversial opinion: guacamole sucks anyway. Boo.
Here's the thing.
Boo.
I prefer guacamole to hummus.
Okay, well, I like both, but guacamole is better than hummus. I would say. I agree.
Yep.
Are you a hummus or a guacamole person?
Avocado toast.
Let us
Anybody?
know in the chat. We'd love to hear from you on that one. All right, it's the red hair, radioactive, says Brian Lewis. Exactly. Slingshots. There are no weapons allowed in federal facilities.
Oh yeah.
This is, of course, what you'd expect, but it even extends to slingshots, which are explicitly forbidden from being brought into federal facilities. You know, like you expect some kind of like Tom Cruise Mission Impossible thing to get pulled off in there with a slingshot. I guess maybe if there was a spy who was just too good.
Guess I could see a slingshot as a weapon.
Yeah, of course it is, but I mean, hummus.
Actually, almost brought in a Swiss Army knife into a courthouse once.
Really?
I was found out. Yeah. I put my bag through the little detector, and the guy's like, "Is there something in the bottom of your bag, ma'am? Do you have change in the bottom of there?" And I was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a knife. I literally admitted it. And then he's like, well, either you throw it away or you got to go put it back. So I'm like, I'm putting it back in my car. I'm not
That's fine.
ditching that nice knife.
I almost brought a gun to the airport once.
Oh,
Yeah, because
my knife.
it happens, but it's more
Yeah.
common than you think. But it happened to us once where I keep I used to keep a 40 cal in my bag, and I went into the airport. And I realized, and my dad had like just dropped me off, and I realized that I had the gun in there, and so I called my dad. I was like, "Dad, come back, please." So I had to like sneak into the car and like pull the gun out and make it look like I wasn't doing anything weird. Yeah. So yeah,
It's happened. I
they
used
do.
to have an old teacher, and he went to a presidential rally. He told
Mhm.
this story to our class,
Mhm.
and he said he had brought a hunting knife by accident in his winter coat.
Oh damn.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was stopped at the door of the presidential rally as well.
Oh God, I bet. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we're talking about 15 harmless things that the U.S. government absolutely freaked out about. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson. I'm speaking to my lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson, who's joining us today. Give her a little round of applause.
Hello.
It's always good to reintroduce. Who are we and who are we talking to?
Bye.
Who are we and who are we talking to? Just FYI, all of the super chats and donations that are made this week go to our Save Our Calvin fund. Our little Calvin's got a little paralyzed back legs.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
It's going to help me so much with my creamy sash.
With his creamy tass.
With my
Yes.
sash.
Yes. So we appreciate all of our support, all of our voluntary financial support. Of course, we're not going to force you to do it.
That's right.
Bell peppers. This was another one. The USDA blocked fresh bell peppers from Spain because they found the Mediterranean fruit fly in them.
Okay.
It's a major agricultural pest. So, I mean, this isn't necessarily that's something I think you could worry about. You don't.
Fruit flies when I buy produce.
Mm-hmm. But you
Cutting them up.
Yeah. Tom D is making a confession over in the stream. He says that he once transported an ounce of weed from Hawaii to New York. That's freaking hilarious.
Oh, he brought weed. Ha ha ha. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. All
I'm
right.
sure a lot of people do that.
Next one. Another thing that the government is protecting is from horse meat.
Remember when they made it illegal to eat horse? It was something like a few years ago.
They
it was
eat
this
it in
big
Japan.
news issue.
They eat horse meat in Japan.
France, I believe.
Do they in France? I don't know.
Cheveux.
Sacre bleu. Horse meat is eaten in much of the world, but not the U.S. No U.S. slaughterhouses kill horses.
Mm-hmm.
The USDA won't let us import horse meat for eating. It's pretty much just because people are uncomfortable with it, not for health reasons.
Exactly. They said something about they give the horses a lot of substances that could be bad to
Mhm.
humans. But yeah, I mean, it's just weird. It's kind of like eating a dog, right? We're
Mhm.
weirded out by that stuff. Although I did read online that it is legal to eat horse meat. It's just not legal to sell it. So I guess you could kill your own horse on your land.
I guess, yeah, if you were a farmer and you had a horse
Yeah.
and you put it down and ate it,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be illegal for you to do that. It's just illegal for you to like slaughter it for the purpose of eating it. Which I don't know. That doesn't make sense. French cheeses.
Okay.
Like, well, we're talking about France.
Le fromage.
Le fromage et le pantalon et mon pantalon.
Oh,
C'est le fromage et mon pantalon.
I do like fromanda.
Oh God! Oh God! No!
That was an old joke from the Team Liberty crew.
The FDA has banned Roquefort and other French cheeses due to high bacteria levels. That sucks because I've always wanted to try Roquefort. One day,
Never heard of it.
it's like a blue cheese. It's like
Okay.
a very strong blue cheese. It's kind of like a fancy blue cheese. Yeah, Roquefort. I think maybe I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Lowering the allowable bacteria level. So you can still find unpasteurized cheese in the U.S. if you know where to go and who to ask. It's kind of like the raw milk thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bacteria levels. They don't want the bacteria levels to get out there. But
Raw goat milk. I don't think I've had raw cow milk before, though.
Amanda over in the live stream says, I could never eat Mr. Ed. That's hilarious. Funny. Quest Fanning just gave us a super chat, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Quest.
He says, it would have been great in the USA. We're in the TPP. That was a Trans-Pacific Partnership. Shinzo Abe did yeoman work getting concessions from Japanese farmers to allow U.S. imports. I know, but some people that we know with orange faces did not let us have that TPP, right?
Orange faces.
Yes, they didn't want us to have free trade. There's
so only one person with an orange face that I know.
Yes, there is. Did I pronounce it correctly or not? Christopher Hatch says Roquefort is wonderful. Pronounced Roquefort. I thought it was Roquefort, but
I feel like in France they'd be like Roquefort.
Roquefort.
Right, really.
No.
Yeah.
What would that thing you do with what you do with that tongue? Ferrets are banned as pets
No.
in California, Hawaii, New York City, and DC because
That is hard to believe.
well, they bite, they get aggressive, they can take over native wildlife if they escape. Plus, they need a.
Smell.
How are you going to ban ferrets and not pit bulls? You know, like how
Yeah.
you know.
There's a lot of mean animals.
Yeah.
There's hamsters, rats, guinea pigs.
Mm-hmm. Joni Rankin says today's show is kicking in my bipolar mode. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
What?
How dare you?
Oh, I am a therapist, but I'm
She's a therapist.
not
We're
going to do
not
therapy
going to do
today.
therapy here on
I'm
the show.
off right now.
Yeah,
I'm having fun.
We're talking about harmless things that the U.S. government absolutely freaked out about. Some of these things are harmless. Some of them are not quite so harmless.
Right. I mean, ferrets, I really don't think they should be illegal.
In New York City, I mean, like, once you get a vermin out in the city like that, it's hard to extricate it. So I don't know. New York City
They
might
do
make sense.
reproduce quite quickly.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure about that one. Ferrets stink. Yes, that is kind of dumb. She says yes. Ferrets
Yes.
are stinky, man.
I do hear that. I always wanted a ferret. I was always curious, but I do know that they're little terrorists.
I wanted, yeah, you worried about the stinky animals and not the vicious ones. Exactly, Amanda. Exactly. Give her some round of applause.
Some people have pet skunks.
That's true. Yeah.
They get them de-skunked though.
Yeah, they take out their glands or whatever. Yeah, they're pretty cute.
Okay.
Black pudding. So in the United States, black pudding, which is a British dish, is banned. It's a blood pudding.
Freaking like yummy chocolate pudding.
No, Taiwan's Tai Ho Ko. Its blood cake is also banned for the same reason. Scotland's government is currently in talks to try and lift the ban on black pudding.
Gross.
So they make it into sausage. I bet it's good.
Probably.
Yeah, it's
What
good.
is? I wonder what
Very
animal
rich.
it is.
Pig.
Oh,
Typically, yeah, pig.
yeah.
I don't know if they do beef blood or something like that. Maybe they would, but I bet it's good. I would totally try it. What do you think? Yeah, Justin, my brother over there on the live stream, he just had his birthday. Justin, what's up?
Justin.
Yeah, happy birthday again. Said ferrets, blurg. Yeah, exactly. They stink. I wanted one for like 5 minutes when I was a kid, and I played with them. And I thought they were cute, but then they're like, You know what I really love are mink. Mink are beautiful, especially
Beautiful coat.
yeah, exactly. Well, was that what Marjorie Taylor Greene was wearing the other day?
Yeah, that coat was a little too much.
It's hideous.
The fur.
I like
used to be very much.
To be fair, people were giving me crap because I was calling her out because her and I don't agree on immigration. Like we agree on like 90% of things. Like she's a great congresswoman from a voting perspective, but I disagree with her on immigration, and also her coat was terrible.
Yeah.
It was pretty ugly. It was gross.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's faux fur.
Even if it was faux fur, I mean, like honestly, if you're gonna wear something like that, just get the real fur. At least be offensive if you're gonna get something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
At least trigger PETA.
At least, yeah, exactly. Thank you. At least grow some balls.
Mm-hmm.
Kinder chocolate eggs. I remember when they did that. I was so mad because I didn't get a chance to try them before they banned these.
Don't they still sell them? I feel like I can visualize them in the store.
They do, but they're not the same. So
Okay.
Kinder brand chocolate eggs are not allowed to be sold in the U.S. because the toy surprise could be a choking or breathing hazard for kids under 3.
I can see Josh Hawley getting into this one. Exactly. You have to be 16 years old to eat a Kinder Egg.
You have to be 16 to get a chocolate egg that has a toy inside of it, honestly. Yeah, that's just
It's all thing.
nanny state, boo.
Parents have to chop up their kids' food. So how is that any different?
Exactly. Andy Opperman says he wants to try hippo. I don't know. That'd be interesting. I bet
Hippo.
I wonder if it tastes like chicken. Probably does.
Oh God! I mean,
Hippo?
hippos are freaky.
They're scary.
They're coming after you.
Yeah, exactly. Hippos are like one of the leading animals that kills people every year. I think it's like mosquitoes are number 1 because of malaria, and then it's like number 2 is the saltwater crocodile because the crocodiles eat people in Africa all the time.
An alligator.
I've had gator bites. Yeah. So if you go to like Bass Pro Shops and places like that around Missouri, they'll do gator bites. Usually it's like a Cajun dipping sauce. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
It does taste like chicken, right?
It's kind of like chicken and fish, like a little bit of a combo, but they're like fried bites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like fritters. Gator fritters is what they are, but they're
Anything
good.
fried is manageable.
Yeah, you would like it. You would like it. Have you ever had gator bites? That's a good question. Send us a text 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. Justin over the live stream says the real good chocolate is the Cadbury chocolate from the United Kingdom. Boy, he's going to make us hungry. Tom D says that alligator is nasty. I mean, I guess I must not have tasted it enough to know, or I probably dipped it in so much Cajun sauce that I couldn't really
You're tasting the
taste it.
flavor.
Yeah, yeah. I always
Yeah.
wanted a pair of gator skin boots. Maybe one day I'll get one.
Mexico, I think we
Remember?
found some.
Well, there was Stingray.
Oh
Is
yes, the stingray
I
boots.
wanted the Stingray boots. The one thing about Stingray boots that I was concerned about though is you pay $400 for the boots made out of the Stingray skin, and I think they're really hard and
Yes.
they don't soften, right? So that's kind of one of the problems of them
Mm,
is that, snakeskin boots, very pretty, but they're soft. Gator boots, they're soft.
mm.
Ostrich skin boots are apparently like the softest.
Oh wow.
But the because of what the stingray's skin is so hard
Yeah.
that it just doesn't loosen up. So it's like they're not very comfortable boots. From what I've heard, at least I understand. But I don't have a pair of stingray boots. All right, animal hide drums. We're talking about things that
About animal hides.
exactly handing animal hide drums can cause anthrax.
Oh, for the anthrax scare.
Yeah, yeah.
They came in envelopes, didn't
Yep. So that was like, yeah, people were doing that to like, try and harm people. They were like, they were sending out anthrax. I think that was the Unabomber, wasn't it? Am I wrong?
I don't remember. I just wasn't at an age to really
Mm-hmm.
care about that stuff so much. I just remember we were scared to get mail
Mhm.
because if you opened it, you might get the powder in your face.
Corey texted in at 573-319-1586 saying gator bites and rattlesnake bites at one restaurant. I haven't eaten snake either.
Mm,
Yeah. Would you try it?
what? At this point in my life, now that I'm not a vegetarian, I'm kind of just going in the other direction. I'm like, you know what?
Try
Just try
everything.
whatever. If you're gonna kill an animal, what's
Yeah.
the difference?
Yeah. Good point.
One dead animal is the same as other dead animals.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, good. I wonder what our listeners think. Would you try snake? Send us a text 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. Let us know what's the weirdest thing that you've ever eaten. I guess that's a good one. Another listener texted in says that gator is nice and chewy. Yeah.
So for some
Mhm.
reason, I picture it to be like gum,
Mm-hmm.
almost like too chewy.
I'm not sure. But I mean, I probably need to try it again and maybe just like lighten up on the sauce a little bit because, yeah, okay, that's kind of
Never
all I can
try
taste.
cilantro without sauce. I will
You
say
hate
this.
cilantro.
One time I tried cilantro and I literally just bit off a bunch of leaves of it without any salad dressing, and it was the most traumatizing experience of my life, and I cannot eat cilantro till this day.
Tom D says goat is hands down the best meat I've eaten. Honestly, I love goat. It's good,
Does it taste like how it smells? Does it taste like how
No.
goats smell?
No. No, there's goat and there's lamb.
Yeah.
But like I'm not sure gyro meat that you
Right.
have from like
I think I looked it up recently. I think it is lamb.
is it lamb or is
I'm
it
gonna
goat?
say
I'm not sure. The proper Greek like gyro I think
right.
is lamb. I'm not 100% sure. It could be
Yeah.
goat, but all I know is that freaking gyros are delicious. Goat meat and stuff like that. It's not the same when you get like the chicken gyros and stuff like that.
It's weirder to eat baby animals than it is to eat adult.
They're the most delicious though.
Makes me feel so sad, like the baby calves.
You're talking about veal. Didn't I give you some veal when we went to the Italian restaurant that one time?
It.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really soft, but it's like the way they make veal. Like they don't let the cows walk around.
They like milk because it's
They're, like, in
only
these little cages.
well, so they don't. Yeah, because you don't want them to work out and exercise and get strong. You want them to be nice and soft and spongy, right?
It's like Calvin.
Exactly. Yes. We're going to fatten them up and eat them. And you know what else is really good? That's taboo is what is it when you pate. So goose liver pate is freaking good, man. I love me some goose liver pate. It's good. It's like a spread. It's like soft like cream cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know how they make it. So they take a goose and they immobilize it. Nathan's shaking his head. So they immobilize it and they put a tube down its throat and they just basically like pump.
It's alive.
They pump food into the goose's mouth and it just I need to leave the camera on Stephanie so you can see her reaction.
This is so sad.
Jason Burdett just sent us a super chat. Good morning, Jason. Thank you.
Talking about animals.
He says eat the bugs. But if we ever go to Thailand, we'll try some. Have to try some cricket.
Thing is that when I was a vegetarian, the food that I was most willing to still have was insects.
Really?
Yeah.
Live in the pod and eat the
I know
bugs.
that they don't feel pain in the same way that mammals do, for example. And so I felt less bad for them.
Yeah, yeah. So Brian Lewis has got it right. He says, inflamed liver. Yeah, that's what they do. Oh, by the way, that for our friend who just gave us the super chat, Jason Burdett. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you,
That's
Jason.
his first super chat. So we're
Awesome.
celebrating his first super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
Welcome to the show.
Well, welcome to the show. It's nice to meet you, man. Introduce yourself around. Make friends here. We love to meet new people. Eat the bugs, live in the pods. Eat the bugs. Oh, okay, so wait a minute. So the inflamed liver, the pate, the goose liver pate. I've only had it like a couple times. It's so good. It is just rich and creamy and delicious. You know, the liver is like, you know, all inflamed and stuff, and then they and you just like smear it, right? And it just like it just
Did
like
they just put the whole liver on your plate, or they chopped it out?
well, they chop it up and then
Mhm.
like it's so kind of like bloated that like it basically you can almost like take a cracker and just rub the liver and it'll like scrape off onto the cracker. But they you know they whip it up like you know like they do a cream cheese or something like that. But it's
The first person that discovered this, like, oh, let's put a tube
well, you know,
on the
so like
mouth.
sweetmeats, right? So like when you eat turkey, for example, for you know Christmas time or Thanksgiving or whatever, they have the giblets and the gizzards and stuff like that. You know, they
Just throw it away.
it's like it's kind of an American thing. Like this is first world problems that we don't eat sweetmeats and gizzards and livers and stuff because it's very common for the around the world for people to eat the what I think are actually the most delicious parts of an animal.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you've never had, I guarantee, beef tongue tacos.
No.
They are awesome. Give it
Never
up
had
for
liver, never had tongue. No.
no beef tongue tacos, and that's kind of a Mexican dish. I know you're not into
Oh.
Mexican food, which is such a disappointment.
Yeah,
But
I mean quesadillas. I
yeah,
like quesadillas.
yeah. Andy Opperman says that geese and ducks add fat to their liver as a natural part of their migration process. The fat in the liver is used to allow the epic flight with minimal foraging. That's interesting. Thank
So
you.
they have a fatty liver by nature?
Yeah, it's to help them fly.
Okay.
Chris Morrill says that's just awful, but OFFAL, which is like
Well, have you heard how they make the down comforters?
no, that's not
Yeah.
Stephanie. Awful OFFAL.
What does that even mean?
So it's basically the sweet meats that are in a jar and then they're they fermented organs in a jar.
Become a vegetarian again. This is just like watching Food Inc. all over again for me.
It's delicious. We're gonna do it. Lingua tacos is what they call those. Yeah, lingua tacos. They're delicious for sure. What else? What else? What was? Oh, you know, have you ever had a real truffle? Have you ever had a proper truffle, mushroom truffle?
No, I
Oh
don't think so.
man. Oh
For some
god.
reason, when you say truffle, I
So
think
good.
of chocolate.
Yeah, yeah. There's chocolate truffles that are
Yeah.
like made like represent like look like little like truffles, but like a proper like black
Yeah,
truffle.
never had that.
Nathan, have you ever had a truffle? Never had a truffle. You got poor bitches. Poor
Sorry.
broke bitches. When I was in New York, I had a dish one time that was a pasta dish, and they shaved truffles over the top of your dish. Are you a mushroom fan?
Really? I like them on my pizza.
Boom,
They're just
boom.
they're kind of chewy and just
Mushrooms are delicious, and truffles are amazing.
it's bad vegetarian. I
Yeah.
did not eat very good, like mushrooms and beans. I didn't like all that stuff.
Good God, that's like those are all really good.
That's why I was a bad vegetarian.
Check out Kogel head cheese sometime, Austin from Flint, Michigan.
Oh, hello, Michigan.
Yeah, what is head cheese?
I have no idea, but
that
it
like-
might be like Fremunda.
Is that brain or something like that? Fermunda.
You're a stupid son of a bitch.
I know that head cheese is like some kind of it's like stomach or something like that. I don't know.
Gross.
Quest said that on my dad's 23rd birthday in Vietnam, he got a care package from my mom and asked a friend what he wanted. On a lark, he said foie gras, but it was actually in there. That's cool.
Wow, how would you package foie gras and send it that far away?
You probably put it in a can.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you probably like in a can.
Yeah.
Another listener texted in and said, any meat that's fried and breaded is kind of whatever. They're not a big fan of the fried foods, which I can understand because you do lose a lot of the initial flavor of an item when you fry it. You know,
Well, that's how I got introduced to shrimp, right? Now I'm a big shrimp fan, but before
Yeah.
that I could only do fried shrimp.
And have you tried like proper crab yet?
I have. We went to Red Lobster one time, and it was a really
No.
bad
It
experience.
was bad. It was her
See,
first time having
okay,
crab. I
here's the
shouldn't have done
thing.
that to her.
I was picturing crab to taste like barbecue chicken.
Hmm.
Okay, I thought it was gonna be like crunchy, but because the crab on the outside, it looks like red, right? Like barbecue chicken.
Hmm.
But I didn't realize you eat the inside. I thought you eat the outside and like crunch it off.
Yeah, it's basically sea spider. It's
Yeah.
delicious though. So we'll get you some proper crab at some point, maybe when
Yeah.
we're in Japan. But wait a minute, didn't you try soft shell crab in my sushi once? I
I
think
do
you
like
did.
crab and sushi. So here's the thing. A lot of these foods, I like it in something else.
Hmm.
It has to be masked by other
It's
flavors.
funny because Tom D over in the live stream says I'm so hungry now, and like literally, I just felt a hunger pang
Oh
talking about
boy.
this right now. I'm like feeling so hungry.
It's actually making me not hungry because of talking about the animals.
And
I have to just not think about how the animals died when I eat.
I know.
Like,
Haggis. We knew we were going to get to haggis. Scottish dish made from sheep's stomach, filled with liver, heart, oatmeal, suet, stock, onions, and spices. But the U.S. won't let us use lungs. USDA banned eating livestock lungs in 1971 because they can have stomach fluid, which is unsafe.
oh, so we can't eat lungs of anything.
We can't have lungs because they're filters. You know, lungs filter out crap, so they get
Right.
filled with crap. But
Yeah.
I would try haggis. I would do it. I'd have a haggis dish. I'd give it a okay. And then, of course, the number one list. This is the one that you really liked. Furbies. Furbies.
I had Farbies.
I was too old for Furbies.
Oh.
In 1998, Furby was a hot Christmas. I was a junior in high school. Furby was a hot Christmas gift, but it freaked out the NSA because they thought it could record and leak top secret info. So the NSA,
Da ao da due. It
yeah,
used to speak this weird language.
is that what it did? Is that what it sounded like?
Yes.
Do that again.
It's like da ao due.
That's pretty good,
Yeah.
Stephanie. Honestly, I don't know if that's what a Furby really sounds like.
It did not speak English.
It reminds me
that's
a
for
little bit
sure.
of The Sims, that language there. But
Uh-huh.
but the NSA banned employees from bringing Furbies to work. So that's what they freaked out about. So
Back in the 90s, my sister actually found one in my grandparents' house. There were these parrots, and they would record voices and they'd talk back to you. They'd be like, ah, and then they would, just start saying whatever you're saying. So it's kind of like the same thing as a Furby.
Okay, well there you go. All right,
It's just a 90s thing. We were all into recording things. I had like spy recorders back in the 90s.
yes. Well, what my generation had was the Kevin McAllister from Home Alone Talk Boy. It was because we all wanted to be Kevin from Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, which we watched this last Christmas.
Did, yeah.
But we had the Talk Boy, so you could record and then play it back at a slower rate. So it would be like
how he did.
This is Kevin McAllister, the father. Like an extra large room, large bed, one of those little refrigerators you have to open with a key. Credit card, you got it. I had that movie I used to have that movie memorized because I watched it so much. But yeah, that was our recording device.
I was just fascinated with recording things back then.
And then remember too, we watched this last night, and when we were going to sleep, was the video of the toys from the 80s, and one of them was Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, I hadn't known that one.
I had Teddy Ruxpin as a kid. That was one of my favorite toys, was because you would put the tape in the back,
yeah,
and then you would press play on the tape, and he would sing and talk and play to you, and he would also read you stories and stuff.
Does sound like Kid's sister. I had this little blonde-haired girl, and you put a tape in her back, and she would also sing. So maybe she was like the new generation.
Kid's sister. So maybe I'm wrong, and check me on this one. I thought that Kid's sister was the analog to My Buddy.
Yeah,
because I had the My Buddy.
Like him. They look like siblings.
The funny thing about the My Buddy thing was that they figured out a way to sell dolls to boys.
Yes.
So because when I was a kid in the 80s, we had the My Buddy doll, and it was just a little doll of a little boy, and it was your my buddy. And
it's like, were parents cool with that?
Yeah.
Because nowadays,
because
if the kids are playing with dolls, they're like, oh no.
I know. Well, it was masculinized. It was just like my buddy, and me. And then because My Buddy was such a hit, they came out with Kid Sister.
Yep, so I had Kid Sister.
Kid Sister and me. But you're saying that the Kid Sister had a audio recorder. I need somebody in the live stream to check this. She has a tape
in her back. I swear.
I need somebody in the live stream to check this. Did Kid Sister have a tape recorder in here? Could somebody please go into the
She
chat?
didn't record things. She had a
But
tape,
she would
like a
play.
cassette tape. Yeah.
Right. But tape you could record things, but maybe you couldn't record into her. But somebody look up whether or not Kid Sister had recording, and please tell me if my wife is correct, because that's gonna bug me all morning if I don't know the answer to that one. Wherever he goes, I go. Brian Lewis has got the lyrics on there. Justin Peterson, my brother, remembers it. He says Austin's hair and the My Buddy doll was the same color. We used to put it in his bed and covered it up to fool our mom
Oh my God.
because we were the same size. So
That's so cute.
she would think that it was me, right? And we'd be off to some shenanigans.
Or where they like put dolls or things in their bed to make
And
it look like them.
I don't know,
And they
but
go away.
it kind of reminds me of that. Did you ever see that movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yes.
He
Yes.
had like the mannequin in his bed to make it look like
Yes.
he was sick, and then he like played the tape to sound like he was somebody there.
Dahmer did that too. Remember?
What?
Yeah, he stole a mannequin from a store because he wanted to do things with it,
yeah.
and he had it in his bed, and then Grandma found it.
Oh, God, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That is weird. Yeah. Quest Fanning says my brother got angry when I mentioned the name of his My Buddy. It was My Buddy, so he would say, "No matter, it's my buddy." I still get what's going on there. I have no idea. Oh, Digioy says Chucky doll. Yeah. So,
Oh wow!
well, see, I think that the My Buddy was the inspiration for the Chucky doll. I could be totally wrong.
What did the Chucky doll do?
I'm just pulling this out of my ass. So I think the My Buddy doll came out. Chucky, did you ever see the movie Child's Play?
Yes.
Okay, so in the movie Child's Play, the little doll comes to life, and what was the doll's name in the movie? It was like, my God, I can't remember. Somebody hooked me up, right? Little God, I can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
But the doll comes to life in Child's Play and like tries to murder the little boy and so like that. And of course, our parents wouldn't let us watch rated R movies as a kid, which was probably a good idea for me to not watch. It was, huh? Oh, Good Guys. That's okay. Yeah, the Good Guys doll. That's what it was from Child's Play. We've got Nathan over there hooking us up back there.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it was a good idea when I was a little boy and I had the My Buddy doll to not have that, for me to not watch Chucky Child's Play, even though I always felt left out because all of our friends, like in elementary school, their parents didn't care, so they'd let them watch, Chucky and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I probably got to watch that.
You get terrified out of their
Yeah.
pants, But Good Guy doll, yeah, Good Guy doll. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. So we weren't allowed to watch those kind of rated R movies. Although my parents did let us watch one rated R movie, which it's like, so you wouldn't let us watch Child's Play, you wouldn't let us watch Aliens, you wouldn't let us watch all this other crap, this rated R movies, but they did. I remember specifically my mom and dad renting from the video store up in Belton. They rented Silence of the Lambs.
Oh God!
And they let us watch Silence of the Lambs. So okay,
that's terrorizing.
Oh, dude,
we watched it not too long ago.
Yeah, we watched it recently. Yeah, it was. So we can't watch any rated R movies, but you'll let us watch Silence of the Lambs, so we have psychological trauma for our entire life.
I know what Josh Hawley would say.
He would say that would be illegal and that children should not be allowed and that it should be a law.
That's right.
Shoot, this is funny. We've been going for an hour. We haven't taken a break.
Oh my gosh, it's already been an hour.
Yeah, my voice is getting a little bit tired. We need about 5 minutes just to kind of like use the bathroom, chill out for a little bit, and we get ready for our next topic.
Okay.
A whistleblower in St. Louis has come out. She worked at a transgender transitioning clinic.
Yep.
And she is a queer woman married to a trans person.
Trans man, yep.
Whatever that means, I don't know sometimes because they have children together, right?
Kids.
So she's queer, husband's trans pronouns. I'll do my best here. She's whistleblowing, saying that we have no idea the horror that we are inflicting on young people in these clinics. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today. Fire.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apeforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit aporlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. We are joined in studio by my lovely bride, Stephanie P. How you doing, Steffi?
I'm doing great.
Nice to see you today. Appreciate you sticking around with us. Family Friday is always fun, isn't it?
It sure is. The conversation is so fun and easy.
Yeah, today we're just kind of we always like to kind of like take a little bit easier on Friday and not necessarily breach subjects that are of deep import. However, we are going to hit a big one right now.
I wanted to fact check myself.
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Found out Kid Sister was actually Cricket. The Cricket doll was a blonde-haired little girl doll with pigtails, and she had a cassette tape.
I'm glad that
So
you did
you
that.
are correct in your memory. Kid Sister did not have a cassette tape.
Yes, there you go. So we appreciate that. Thank you, Stephanie, for doing a correction. It's very important for journalistic integrity.
I know, right?
Yeah, we didn't want her to say that she had a Kid Sister doll and that it was recording and have that misreported on the
Because
stream.
at your dinner conversations tonight, you're going to be like, oh yeah, Kid Sister had a cassette tape, and you'll be like getting in fights with your significant other.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because you heard it on the Wake Up America show in the morning, and like later, over the water cooler, you're talking about the Kid Sister doll, and you're like, oh, that one recorded? No, Stephanie said it did. No, appreciate that. If you're just now tuning into the Wake Up America show with Austin Peterson, we appreciate you joining us here today. No matter what platform that you're watching us streaming on this morning, still trying to figure out Instagram. Sorry if you were watching us over there and you said, oh, wow, it's not working anymore. And you joined us over on YouTube. So if you're joining us on YouTube and you're one of the 42 people watching us live, would you do us a favor and click like on the stream? I'd appreciate that. Also, Amanda noted that we are coming up on a milestone for the YouTube channel in terms of subscribers. You mentioned this too this morning.
20,000, right?
20,000 subscribers.
I know. It has gone up and up and up.
The
Every weekend, I'm always like, you're going to hit another 1,000.
Yeah, the last 28 days on YouTube has been exciting for us. Very exciting. And, we're not rolling in dough just yet, but the subscribers, the views, everything has been blown up. And you know why?
Because of you?
Well, obviously, no crap, right? But the point is what I've been doing that has made it really explode is my history videos and my philosophy videos.
Yes.
So my 1-minute explainers, my 1-minute philosophy videos, 1-minute guns of the president's videos. Right now, the Donald Trump one's blowing up, but the Ronald Reagan one hit 1 million. The FDR one hit 1 million. If you haven't watched my Guns of the President series or any of my new ones, make sure you check them out on my YouTube channel. The playlists are all there. You can click and watch them, and I'm be super grateful if you would. Appreciate that for pointing that out, Amanda. We love you.
Yeah, Amanda is on top of her stuff.
She is. She's one of my favorite new people that we've added into our little plan.
She's a new
buddy.
Fan.
Yeah, she is. We appreciate her very much. Okay, so speaking of, we're gonna move off of the fun nostalgia and food things. A woman who by the name of Jamie Reed came out just yesterday with an article that is blowing up the internet. She says in her article, she's from St. Louis, Missouri. She says, I thought I was saving trans kids. Now I'm blowing the whistle. But before we get started, we do have to say thank you to Andy Opperman, contributed to the Save Our Calvin Fund.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. He threw $25 in the kitty. That's a lot of money, and we know especially with the down economy.
He's giving a lot.
Andy has been giving a lot. And I think Andy's a local here in mid-Missouri, so.
Think so. I do remember sending him a gift before.
Yeah, yes. we send well, all of our friends and people who are donors, especially monthly subscribers and things like that, get on the Christmas card list. So and every year we always do a fun new take on a Christmas card. Last year was scuba diving, and then what was the year before? What did we do then?
Boy, the year before that was our wedding photo.
And then the year before that.
The year before that was our very first one, and that was of us and Kelvin in front of this government building. Yeah,
that was in Herman at Oktoberfest. Yep. So if you want to get on the Christmas card list, just be a monthly subscriber. You can do that for as little as $2.99 a month, and today's a good day to subscribe or to do that because it's payday. So hook us up, and we'd be super grateful. We continue to grow, and we appreciate you all very much. All right, so Jamie Reed, she says, I thought I was saving trans kids, now I'm blowing the whistle. She says, there are more than 100 pediatric gender clinics across the U.S. I worked at one. What's happening to children is morally and medically appalling. And she starts us off, gets my attention right away. She says she's a 42-year-old St. Louis native, so about my age, a queer woman, and politically to the left of Bernie Sanders. My worldview has deeply shaped my career. I spent my professional life providing counseling to vulnerable populations, children in foster care, sexual minorities, and the poor. She says for almost 4 years, I worked at the Washington University School of Medicine with teens and young adults who were HIV positive. Many of them were trans or otherwise gender nonconforming, and I could relate. Through childhood and adolescence, I did a lot of gender questioning myself. I'm now married to a trans man, and together we are raising my 2 biological children from a previous marriage and 3 foster children we hope to adopt. She became a case manager at the Washington University Transgender Center at St. Louis Children's Hospital, which had been established in 2017. The center's working assumption was that the earlier you treat kids with gender dysphoria, the more anguish you can prevent later on.
Okay.
This
In terms of mental health, probably.
This premise was shared by the center's doctors and therapists. Given their expertise, I assumed that abundant evidence backed this consensus. She writes, during the 4 years I worked at the clinic as a case manager, I was responsible for patient intake and oversight. She said around 1,000 distressed young people came through our doors. The majority of them received hormone prescriptions that can have life-altering consequences, including sterility. She left the clinic in November of last year because she said she couldn't participate in what's happening there. She says that by the time she departed, she was certain that the way that the American medical system is treating these patients is the opposite of the promise we make to do no harm. Instead, we are permanently harming the vulnerable patients in our care. She says that she's speaking out today. She's doing so knowing how toxic the public conversation is around this issue and the ways that her testimony might be misused. And she says that she's putting herself, of course, at serious personal and professional risk, which is very true. Most people told her to keep her head down, but she says she can't do that in good conscience because what is happening to scores of children is far more important than her comfort. And what is happening is morally and medically appalling. She goes on to write that after she arrived at the Transgender Center, she was struck by the lack of protocols, formal protocols for treatment. The physicians' co-directors were essentially the sole authority. At first, the patient population was tipped towards what used to be the traditional instance of a child with gender dysphoria, a boy, often quite young, who wanted to present as or wanted to be a girl. Until 2015, a very small number of these boys comprised the population of pediatric gender dysphoria cases. Then, across the Western world, there began to be a dramatic increase in a new population. Teenage girls, many with no previous history of gender distress, suddenly declared they were transgender and demanded immediate treatment and testosterone.
Yeah.
She saw this at the center. She says one of her jobs was to do intake. She says when she started there in 2017, there were probably 10 calls a month. When she left, there were 50 and 70% of the new patients were girls. Sometimes clusters of girls arrived from the same high school.
Interesting.
I think that that's important.
Yes.
She says that that concerned her, but she didn't feel like she was in the position to sound an alarm back then. There was only 8 people on the team. Anybody who raised doubts ran the risk of being called a transphobe.
Of course, because how could you deny what somebody's true thoughts are?
Yep. Yeah. And the girls who came to us had a lot of comorbidities: depression, anxiety, ADHD, eating disorders, obesity. Many were diagnosed with autism, right? A report last year on a pediatric transgender center found that about 1/3 of the patients referred there were on the autism spectrum.
That's really interesting to me because we don't know much about autism in general yet. What causes it, other than people saying the vaccines cause it. So it's just interesting that there's like some sort of a connection between autism and.
I think my brother
being
has nailed it here
transgender.
with his comment. His on live stream comments, he says social contagion.
Yes, I think they used that in the article. Yeah.
Right. The patients declared they had disorders that no one believed they had. They had patients who said they had Tourette's, but they didn't. They said they had tic disorders. They didn't.
Oh, we've seen those TikTok videos.
The fakers.
People
right?
changing personalities on the spot in a 1-minute video.
Yep. This is why Josh Hawley wants to ban this kind of stuff.
Right.
Right. You understand his intentions are pure.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Usually everybody's intentions are pretty good on both sides.
Right. And he says she says that the doctors privately recognize these false self-diagnoses as a manifestation of social contagion. They even acknowledge that suicide has an element of social contagion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Suicide is popular nowadays.
Yeah. But when I said the clusters of girls streaming into our service looked as if their gender issues might be a manifestation of social contagion, The doctor said gender identity reflected something innate.
Right. It's very different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So all it took is for someone to write a letter of support from a therapist to only had to see the girl once or twice to give them a green light.
Yeah, that is how they do it. I mean, I only work with adults, and so in order to get a surgery consultation, as far as I know,
Mhm.
you need 2 letters
Mhm.
from medical professionals.
Yep. Yeah, Justin's out there quoting Arthur Miller, just like the young girls sing witches in Salem. Have you ever seen I almost said the line, The Witch in the Wardrobe. Have you ever seen The Crucible?
A long time ago, so
It
it's
might
not
be
fresh in my
it might
mind.
be worth watching as it's a
Mm.
good movie and
Mhm.
stuff, a little long, but Daniel Day-Lewis is in it. I played the lead role in that play in high school.
Nice. So dreamy.
I know. But it's about the Salem witch trials,
Uh-huh.
right? And it's about the social contagion at the time where they were thinking that they were seeing witches and all this kind of stuff. It was a social contagion, and that's what we're experiencing now. Now she continues on and starts describing in detail the impacts of females taking testosterone and what has occurred with parents being just unable to deal with the consequences because I mean you probably know the side effects of a female who begins to take testosterone, right? You've probably seen it in the hospital, and you might you talk to people who are struggling with this as a therapist.
Yeah, who are noticing
Hmm.
the changes in their body. One of them is the receding hairline. When you take testosterone, that is not wanted.
Yeah, no, they don't want to lose their hair, but
Mhm,
they do.
but they do.
Testosterone,
Yeah.
makes you lose your hair. That's something that you kind of got to watch out for. The drug bicalutamide.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of it. I
It's
don't
used
know.
to treat metastatic prostate cancer. One of the side effects is it feminizes the bodies of men who take it, right? And the center prescribed this cancer drug as a puberty blocker and feminizing agent for boys. It's got a long list of side effects. One of them is liver toxicity.
I mean, cancer drug? Yeah, you don't want to be taking cancer drugs if you don't have cancer,
Well,
in my
they're
opinion.
giving it to kids.
Uh-huh.
And he was one of the patients who was on it was had to be immediately taken off of the drug because his liver was getting toxic. He was experiencing liver failure
Right.
from taking this drug.
Mm.
How little patients understood what they were getting into was illustrated by a call we received at the center in 2020 from a 17-year-old biological female patient who was on testosterone. She said she was bleeding from her. In less than an hour, she had soaked through a heavy pad. The nurse at the center told her to go to the emergency room. Later, they found out that she'd had intercourse, and because testosterone thins the vaginal tissues, her canal had ripped open. She had to be sedated and given surgery to repair the damage.
Wow.
That wasn't the only case of that happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that society doesn't really talk about when they talk about transitioning.
Yeah. She goes on, and there's like 3 or 4 or 5 more pages of this, and I would highly recommend that you read it yourself. It's just a little too graphic for our morning show, and
There was one about how this kid was doing bestiality activities, and
yikes.
the doctor
Mhm.
wanted to chemically castrate this person
Mhm.
and almost like make them transition just so that they didn't keep doing this to animals. So I think she was saying that now people are being given these medications for transitioning not necessarily because of their gender identity but because of behaviors that they have,
Mhm.
and so they want to basically castrate them.
Mhm.
So yeah, the reasons behind what these doctors are doing are kind of scary.
Yeah. I think it's time for us to move on. I don't want to spend too much time on Friday talking
Yeah.
about negative stuff and things like
Yeah.
that, but I bring this up because it's a huge story and because it's obviously there's a really good book that I
Mhm.
recommend if you haven't read it yet. It's Abigail Schreier, and it's titled Irreversible Damage, and it really goes into the whole social contagion aspect of this, where it talks about why these young girls are now all of a sudden. It used to be like, the odd young boy who experienced gender dysphoria. Now it's masses of young girls, waves of these young girls who are going in there and doing all this stuff, and then self-reporting all these other mental health issues, and then being given essentially being sterilized. We're committing crimes against children here in this country, and it's unfortunate to me that it's impossible to have a non-toxic conversation about this because someone like myself who is a Republican, it would just be seen as transphobic for speaking out against something like this, when the reality is so completely untrue, right?
Right.
And she's a perfect example because she's, to the left of Bernie Sanders and is married to a trans
She's
person.
very much an ally,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I'd say I'm an ally too. That's why I would always want to validate anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
Definitely don't push them away, and have conversations with your kids about these issues. And if they do think they want to try to be a different gender, let them, like what your brother said the other day, let them socially transition.
Yeah,
Let them dress different.
Yeah, that's different.
And talk different if they want to.
Jamie Marie
support them
Pope.
in that.
Jamie Marie Pope's on the live stream this morning. I haven't seen you. Hi, Jamie. Nice to see you.
Doing a really good job with your campaign work there.
Yeah, Jamie, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. We're glad to see you. We're definitely rooting for you down there in Louisiana. Hope that you win that state house seat. But also, congratulations on getting out there and put your name on the line. She was a Cantina Crew OG, and now she's out running for office. So incredible things can happen.
It takes major bravery.
It certainly does. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to take a very quick break. I'm not going to do a whole commercial break or anything like that, but I want to go get another topic. I've got 5 things that the government has banned that don't exist yet. I know you didn't see it. It's going to be a surprise for you. Yeah, we're going to talk about that when we get back, and I'll be right back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us. Here, we like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
Thank you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1, you can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself or me mom, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great. Number 2, most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3, you're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me Pops build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell, this commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. Austin Peterson here. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. It's Family Friday, so the lovely Steffi P is hanging out with us. Hi, Steffi. You look,
My Beyonce.
you look good as gold today, my lovely lady. It's nice to see you here today. You're a big fan of gold and silver, aren't you?
Very much so.
Absolutely.
Actually, my family was just going through some of my grandparents' stuff over the weekend, and we did find a gold coin, and I looked it up online, and it still very much has its value. So, I mean, even 100 years later, if you find some gold randomly in a closet, you can do stuff with it.
So here's the thing. So I really love Lear Capital. They have invested in the Wake Up America show to help us grow and, to get their name out there. They want more people to know about who they are and their services. Kevin Demerit, who's the principal guy there.
He's the guy who's been on.
He's been on a couple times. He's going to be back on next week to talk about what's happening in the commodities markets. It's a great way to showcase my sponsor, introduce him to the audience, build a layer of trust. And they've definitely shown their trust in me by investing in the Wake Up America show. They believe in us, right? They believe in the Cantina crew and our ability to grow and to turn this into a powerhouse because they've continued to extend their sponsorship going into the 3rd month because they did the 2-month trial period, and I was kind of scared that we might not get enough people because the thing is that when you go to the website, learaustin.com, you download the informational packet, I get credit for that. Right? Even if you don't buy gold or silver, which you should.
Yes.
But here's the thing. So they called me yesterday, or they sent me an email, I'm sorry. They sent me an email yesterday, and they said that they really want to get more phone calls.
Oh, like people calling them?
Yeah, because it's one thing to sign up for a free packet, but they want you to call so that you can get that packet over the phone. Because because right now what's happened is I've been very successful at getting people to visit the website, and that's easy. But I haven't been as successful getting people to call that phone line.
I mean, people are so nervous to call on phones nowadays.
That's what I try to tell them. I know, I do. I totally get it too. But you know what? I really want to ask today, my big ask, is if you haven't signed up for that free gold packet, would you call Lear Capital today at the number we see on the screen? And that's 1-800-885-2175.
So just for people who need to practice before they call. So when they call, are they just like, hey, Austin Peterson told me to call. I want to find out more about.
Yeah. Well, that number that's my number. So it will get tracked to me. But I mean, it's cool because they all know me.
Right.
So if you're like, hey, Austin told me to call so I could get a free gold packet. Right, then they're gonna, hook you up right there, and they're just, it also makes us look good, right? Because if Lear Capital sticks with us, sees us through the long haul, continues to grow this show, I mean, they will have been an important part of our success.
Oh, absolutely.
And don't you want us to be successful? I mean, let me ask you something. Amanda, Corey Kleiber, RVolt24, Buddy Mansour, would you like to see us turn this show into a freaking network? Would you like us to grow and become successful? But you can help do that right now by calling that number today, 1-800-885-2175. That's 1-800-885-2175. Write that number down, and if you get phone nervous,
I understand. Just do some deep breathing.
Some deep breathing.
And then count to 3.
Yes.
1, 2, and then just press send on 3 and be like, okay, we're here.
Exactly. So.
Script if you want. Hello, my name.
They'll make it easy. Just tell them to say, hey, Austin told me to call, that I could find out more information about their gold and silver packages, that you guys had an information packet you might be able to send me in the mail. Sign me up. They'll take your info and and all of that. So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you, by the way, for supporting, because a lot of people have signed up for the packet through the website, right? But what I'd really like now is to ask you is to make the phone call today.
Yeah, they probably just didn't realize they should call on the phone, because whenever I have an option of like text, call,
Website.
right, I always choose the one that's like the least confrontational.
Right, go to the website. Right. But today I'd like to ask you today,
Right.
call that number 1-800-885-2175. Okay, so we're going to go back to our normal scene. Normal view, normal view, normal view. No, Mystery Science Theater 3000? Nobody? Okay.
Nope, haven't seen
You
that
haven't
one.
seen that? Okay, we need to watch that. The only thing is that like I think it's really funny, but those were back in my college days when I was like, "Whoa, bro, this is so funny." So we'll try. We'll see if it's as funny, if it holds up, as because your college level humor isn't necessarily the humor you find as an adult. So
That's right.
all right, 5 things that the government has banned that, or at least the laws that are passed on things that are currently impossible to do. So this is an interesting. I found this article today. Human cloning.
Well, it kind of happens well, not human cloning.
Right.
Animal cloning has happened.
Yeah, Dolly the sheep in 2006 became the first successfully cloned mammal. It was national news, and then of course, immediately we're thinking, it went from sci-fi to reality. So now if you can do it to a sheep, you can do it to a human.
Babies in petri dishes now.
So well, they do that. That's in vitro fertilization and stuff. But I mean, but that's not a clone, right? So if there was an exact copy, say, hey, I always had a dream that I'd have a threesome, but it was both Austin. There was 2 Austins. I know you would, because but I would feel like I was getting cheated on, even though it's me. But it's a clone of me. It's not me. It's like
But that's the thing about cloning, is we think the person's going to act and look the exact same, but usually they don't.
Well, do they? We haven't had it happen yet. We don't know yet.
So.
I think they do. I think they look exactly the same.
Sure?
They may, well, everybody,
Yeah,
it depends on their experiences, right? If they were raised together and all that stuff. So
right.
I don't know.
Certain genetic predispositions, sure.
In 2018,
oh, I'd have to do more research.
In 2018, a monkey was successfully cloned. The monkey was successfully cloned. And cloning a dead pet is very popular, by the way, now.
Well, that's so weird.
If you're flush with money and grief, you can clone your pet. Wouldn't that be wild to get your pet cloned?
Yeah, I just don't know how healthy that is for grief. I mean, part of life is saying goodbye.
I know.
We hate it, but it's a reality.
I know. Imagine like your husband. Imagine if you're like some kind of science fiction movie would be interesting, where it's like your husband dies in a car crash, so you just clone him.
Right. It's like anybody. Yeah, if your spouse dies, would you clone them so you could continue to have them? But here's the thing: after you clone it, then the baby grows up from being a baby, so you have to wait all those years.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be married to a baby.
Yeah, for sure. Joni Rankin says, "Family friendly Friday, Austin. We need to hear some of that musical theater degree." I don't know about that. We'll see. La 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 la. Bumblebee, bumblebee. Okay, so this was an interesting one. Planets are not up for grabs, apparently.
Buying them?
Settling them at the moment right now. We have the Outer Space Treaty of 1967.
God.
Right? So the UN passed a treaty preventing countries from claiming ownership not only of the moon, but of any other planet or celestial body, labeling them the province of all mankind.
One day we're going to have wars over this stuff.
I agree. Yeah. More specifically, there are specific relevant guidelines keeping Mars from someday becoming America too. Here's what it says. The exploration and use of outer space shall be carried out for the benefit and interest of all countries and shall be the province of all mankind. Outer space shall be free for exploration and use by all states. Outer space is not subject to national appropriation by claim of sovereignty, by means of use of occupation, or any other means. I say that, and we take what's ours, what belongs to us, which is and make Mars America number 2.
Oh boy.
The United States of Mars.
I mean, we've seen how all this is played out in the Middle East, and it's not going very well.
Well, the Middle East is settled. You've got a bunch of bloody Taliban savages running around out there in the
but
Middle
you
East.
got people who are like, I was here first,
But
right?
if we
Everybody
get there
says
first,
they were here first.
Yeah, but screw the UN.
Yeah.
If the United States gets to Mars first, it's ours. I'm just sorry. I don't care about the UN.
Maybe we need a great race between all nations.
No, because then if China gets there first, then I still think it's ours.
I'm just gonna start going over that one.
Khan, The planets will absolutely be on whoever's the biggest guns. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Tom.
Do guns work up in space? Can you be like shooting?
No, that's a great question. But I think you can. There's other ways that you can like create projectiles and things like that. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. Everything in space is essentially a projectile. Like when you're up, there's so much space junk that it's dangerous up there.
Be hit by an asteroid.
Joni Rankin just donated $5. Thank you, Joni. And she says musical theater. She's like banging on the table. We want music, music. Are there any songs that we know together?
I mean, we sing "Cruising" at our wedding, but I guess that's kind of overplayed. Right?
It's a little overplayed, but I mean, I think we've done that before. People who know us have heard us
Have a
sing.
request if you
Yeah,
have.
give us a request. Give us a duet request, and we'll say maybe.
Yeah.
The problem is we'll all be off key because we can't play the actual song.
Right.
Well, I guess we could, but we just
like that little piano on like.
Yes,
And then we'll all get on.
Me. We'll see, but we'll wait till the end. We've got like 20 more minutes of show,
Okay.
so
Yep.
yeah, my voice is getting pretty tired too, so I don't know. But thank you, Joni. It's a maybe. It's a maybe. If she'd put $50 in there, we'd be singing right now.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding. So yeah, the outer space treaties that exist. One of the big problems with our outer space treaties too is the use of nuclear weapons in space.
Oh.
Well, it's a big problem because it's meant to prevent us from having like nuclear war in space and stuff, but it's actually preventing us from creating the kind of space travel that would actually make it feasible to go to places like Mars.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
It's messing us up by us saying we can't have that. Now we're limiting ourselves.
Yeah, so there's a really good like faux documentary kind of thing, fake science kind of thing, where it's just like sci-fi, but like based on scientific principles. It's called Escape from Planet Earth.
Nice.
I think it was on National Geographic.
I might like this.
Oh, you would. It's really good. And they basically set up a scenario of like what would happen if the Earth was going to be destroyed and we had like 75 years until we knew that it was going to die. The planet was gonna die.
75 years.
You'd have 75 years. And so so all the world scientists would get together. And the thing I hate about the documentary, because it's like funded by governments, is they show that there are two projects to get humans off the planet.
Okay.
And one of the projects is like the government project, which all the governments of the world come together and they have a fair selection process. And then they'll play they play this dramatic music that shows like the Elon Musk type character. And then they go, and then there will also be other people who are evil, who are rich.
And they might be called capitalists.
And these capitalists will also build their own spaceships and they will try to escape the planet and they will do it because of who has the most money, and they'll sell tickets on their ship to get off the planet, and it will be only rich people who will be allowed on there.
So that's why the rich people have their fair share of their income so that they can do.
Exactly. And then they show the one that the government scientists are using to get off the planet, and it's like, oh, it's like, oh, it's so beautiful.
And China's on there with us.
Yes, and it's like it's diverse people from all different backgrounds and ages, and the selection process
is Noah's Ark. All the camels.
Well, here's the thing: they actually use eugenics to determine in this fake documentary. They use eugenics. The government goes out and like has people give their DNA to determine who has superior genetics. And then they decide who goes because they don't want sick people going out. People who have
the fair way.
Yeah, the fair way. Well, here's the thing: you don't want people with diabetes, right? Because then you have to have life support for diabetes people. You have to have insulin on board, and it's not feasible to put people like that on a life ship. But the capitalists don't care if you've got diabetes, as long as you can pay to get on. So if you're a rich person with diabetes, you can go to the capitalists. And here's the thing that pisses me off the most about it too. We're going to get back to the nuclear treaty in just a moment. The thing that pisses me off too is that they show, oh, the government won. Oh, it's so lovely, and they're going to, yay, everybody's going to survive.
Waving our country
Right,
flags.
and then they show the capitalist one. It's like the evil music, and they're getting ready. They show the capitalist launch pad. It's like 10, 9, and there's like Elon Musk signing off, heading to the next planet, getting off of Earth, and then the music is like this dramatic stuff, and then 4, 3, oh, something wrong, danger, error,
Oh my God.
and it explodes on the launch pad.
The space team would blow up like that.
Let me tell you something about the capital. It would be the government one that would blow up on the launch pad. It was Elon Musk's The one who's developing rockets right now that can be reusable rockets is the guy who's going to get off the planet successfully. The eugenics-based government one is going to be the one that blows up in the launch pad. I'm sorry, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It'll get down to 0, and then it'll just be like a fart noise.
Yeah, exactly. Look down, you'll always be a slave. Yes, for sure. Don't look up was somewhat clever. So anyways, the nuclear treaties that we have that would make space travel viable, and they talk about it in this documentary. Boy, that's quite a tangent. Is so there's multiple different like schools of thought for how space travel would work, because everything is so far away that it takes fucking years to get anywhere, right? Like, so in order,
GPS,
you have to be going in order to get to
you get places very
right.
easily.
In order for it to be feasible for humans to travel somewhere and not take the entire lifespan of a human, you have to be going pretty much near light speed. You can't go light speed, at least according to the current laws of physics as we understand it.
Yeah.
So you have to go near light speed. In order to get up that fast, they're talking about things like, oh, well, what about solar sails? So you use the sun and then you get solar energy, because if you use regular fuel, it becomes a chicken and egg scenario where in order to get speed, you need more fuel, but the more fuel you are, the heavier you are. And the more heavy that the spaceship is, the more fuel you need to push the spaceship. So again, it becomes a lose-lose scenario. So what they found is that the most feasible method of nuclear power for a spaceship,
but we can't use that.
but we can't use that. And what they would do is you would essentially have a pressure plate on the back of the spaceship, and you would set a nuclear weapon off behind the spaceship, which would explode, push the pressure plate, and then push the spaceship up to near light speed, so that you could make it in time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they've actually proven this technology before the tests went off, because what they did was they took like a plate. And there are videos of this you can see online from the 60s, where they set off a series of explosion underneath a plate, and the series of explosion, the plate, boom, 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 set it off up into the air. So this is how that you would be able to build a spaceship with nuclear weapons, but we can't do it because of treaties that we have with Russia and stuff like that. I know, right? It's interesting.
Mars itself, could we travel around like we do in the world? Right? Could we like drive around in cars or something?
And on Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it has gravity, and it has like a very thin atmosphere. It would need to be terraformed.
Terraformed.
You never heard this? You don't play enough video games. Terraformed. So terraforming would be kind of like, did you see that Matt Damon movie what was that called? The Matt Damon movie where no, it's like it was Interstellar, was that it? It was Matt Damon, and he like was on some planet. He was on Mars, and he like terraformed it. Terraforming is when you like take a land and like that's desert, and you turn it into fertile land. That's kind of like what Israel did to the desert.
Like permaculture?
Yeah.
You make it all work for itself and make plants.
Make plants grow. So
certain types of soil and things.
Yeah. So basically, you fertilize the soil, and you
put water sources.
Yeah, they call it.
So it's like man-made.
Right. On a planetary level, it's called terraforming. But I guess here on the Earth, it's called permaculture. I have no idea.
Well, yeah, it's just how everything works together in nature.
Brian Lewis says it's called The Martian. The Martian. Okay, I didn't see. I didn't know that it was The Martian.
We should watch this.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. Matt Damon. It's actually a good Matt Damon movie where he goes to Mars, and he's like stuck there, so he has to like reinvent horticulture.
This is so cool.
Yeah, so he can have like food and stuff like that on the planet. But that's what we want to do. And if we go to Mars, we want to terraform it and convert it into, we want to start converting the atmosphere to an oxygen-friendly atmosphere.
Yes. We definitely would have to move plants over there, probably.
Yeah, you'd have to bring seeds and plants and things like that, and probably some types of soils, and you'd have to have certain types of bacteria. Right, because one of the interesting things about humans is that humans live because of the bacteria in our guts, and so there'd have to be certain bacteria that would go with us, and we'd want to prevent certain types of bacteria from getting on the ship and being with us, right? Right, that's kind of like what the government on that documentary thing was pushing for.
Came with us.
See, yeah, exactly.
On the ship.
Matt Damon
waving our flags. Who gets out there?
Yeah. See, that's the thing is while the government was taking like a eugenic style approach there for like choosing who gets to go on the spaceship, it would be wise to prevent maybe somebody who has like stage 4 cancer from getting on the ship and things like that. Because again, all your medical resources would be devoted to, somebody that you could have prevented from being on the ship. So
Gosh, yeah.
if you want to get on the ship and
First-
you're sick, go get on Elon Musk's. Get on the Capitalist, the one that you have to pay for.
First reaction though was women and children, right? Isn't that who always gets to go first?
Always, yeah. But
We hope for your sake that wouldn't happen.
the funny thing about the Titanic scenario is, if you think about this, like the lifeboat scenario of Titanic, it was totally unnecessary to do women and children first in the lifeboats.
Really?
That was a very Victorian attitude. But I mean, the whole point, the purpose of women and children first on the Titanic, if you think about it, is like, well, it's about women can have babies and go on and preserve the species. But it's not like the people who were on the Titanic were the last people on Earth.
Exactly.
It wasn't.
No.
So there was no reason to say women and children first. It's not as if these are the last people alive.
Right.
There were still the rest of the planet was still populated. It was just everybody who was on the Titanic was going to die. So, it leads back to this discussion that I've been having this week about the disposable male. Camille and I talked about this yesterday a little bit about how we look at men in our society as disposable, and how how the transgender sports issue has kind of like brought up some of the hypocritical double standards that we have, because women, typically, and I've said this a million times this week, women are protected in society. Women are not only are women protected in our society in general, but they're also protected from the repercussions of their own decisions. And in the regards to the question of putting transgender people in sports, it's not men advocating for that, right? There might be a man out there or two, but 99% of the people who are advocating for this are women, right? Because this is the feminist movement that has advanced this LGBTQ agenda to a large degree. It's not men. There are men who are, pro LGBTQ who think that you should do this, and it's, there are a few. But when you're on campus and you're getting screamed at by somebody with purple hair, it's usually a girl,
right?
It's usually females who are advocating these kinds of policies.
Yes.
So then when we turn around and we're trying to protect young girls from transgender men being playing in women's sports, it's because whenever a girl cries, something gets done, right? Something's going to
manipulative tears.
Something's going to change, right? I like the joke, and Bill Burr did a really good comedy segment about this. There are no feminists in house fires.
There are no.
Have you ever heard this? There are no feminists in house fires.
Tell me more.
They're women and children first,
right?
Right. So you can be the most raging, rock hard post fourth wave millennial, purple haired feminist, but if they say, if you're on the Titanic and the lifeboat and they say women and children first in the lifeboats, you may have identified as a man 5 minutes ago.
It's hearing an interesting discussion. Rose and Jack from the Titanic.
Yeah.
In the movie, Rose, says, Jack, you can't fit on I believe it's a door that she was laying on.
Right.
You can't fit on it. So critics are saying, why couldn't he fit on the door with Rose?
He could.
Couldn't she just move over?
Yeah, they did the physics on that and said that, and said that there was enough room on there. Right. I'll never let go, Jack. I'll never let go. And then she lets go. Men are disposable. Yes. And Jamie Marie Pope says, is that because women can repopulate? Yes, but again, in this scenario, it's not like the people on the Titanic are the last people alive. They're not. There are still people on the planet. So why did they
sperm too? Don't
sperm in comparison? In terms of value, one egg versus one sperm, you only have like a certain amount of eggs for your entire life, right? But I can produce a near infinite amount of sperm.
So cool.
Well, no, I mean, you're cool and you're the one that's valuable and that's why, and I think that is why our society is constructed for women, to protect women, is largely because men are expendable, in large part because we are abundant.
Because one man could possibly populate.
Exactly.
There's those sperm donors from back in the day who had over 100 children.
This is correct. This is
donated sperm.
So I mean, so the question becomes, do we accept this double standard in modern society, where it's like girl boss, progressivism, feminism, we're taking men's jobs, we're taking your points, we're leaning in, we're going to be at the top of the corporate board, we're going to take your scholarships, we're also going to take all your positions in academia because we're going to get, bias in terms of bringing girls into schools. More girls are getting master's degrees, higher degrees, PhDs. The majority of them are females, right? And you're going to get us to pay for the first date, and you're going to have us open the door, and you're going to have us be the provider and be the majority, the person of the earner, because when men who earn less than their wives get divorced at a higher rate.
Oh, their wife divorces them.
Right. And so my argument here this whole week is that women have been liberated from their gender roles.
Yeah.
Men have not.
Right.
Right. Men are still required to conform to old chivalry standards when it comes to how we're supposed to treat women. Don't hit women, right? Women can hit you, but you just have to stand there and take it, right?
Just because we have a womb.
Just because you have a womb.
There you go.
Right. Women and children first. So and that's the thing. Who wouldn't want to have their cake and eat it too, right?
Exactly.
If you were a girl, absolutely you're going to want to have, you're going to want to be able to enjoy the benefits of chivalry as well as progressivism.
Right.
But, that's why when I talk, I like to joke. I say that equality for the modern women in the United States would be a step down.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Because then, they would have to do more.
Because right at the moment, women experience special treatment in the West, right? So and so the problem.
Do you want to get out there and start mowing your lawn,
right?
ladies?
But here's the question. You'll get a lot of these like radical rad trads, chicks online who are like posting about how they want to be a housewife and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, first of all, if you want to be a housewife, then stop hoeing on Instagram.
Exactly.
Because that's not what a housewife does. The funny thing is about like the radical traditionalists, like what are you doing online? Like posting about your life and posting photographs.
Should you be cooking a cake?
And they're posting thirst traps and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, it's because, you know why? It's because even the radical traditionalist females in Western culture, the ones who claim to be conservative, social conservatives, they want to have their cake and eat it too.
Right.
They want to post thirst traps online, and they want to do it while supposedly advancing some version of anti-feminist, anti-progressive social views.
Mm.
So the problem is that, again, they're protected, right? Because it's like, as soon as anybody dare criticize, here comes Captain Save-A-Ho, and all what we call the white knights who show up and are like, oh, no, how dare you? She's just blah, 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 blah. You're just jealous or blah, blah, blah. You need to find Jesus, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like, why are you protecting them? They're strong.
Because they're a simp.
Because that is right, Stephanie. They are
good at learning.
You are, because they're a simp. They are a simp. That's right.
Right. It's like a woman, she wants to work and make more money than her husband.
Exactly.
And then once the man wants to be a stay-at-home dad, she's like, oh.
Stephanie, she's getting it.
I'm losing respect for you.
Exactly.
I just want to be a stay-at-home dad.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. Because there's something there it's innate that we emasculate our men, and women are emasculating these men. And then once the men are emasculated, they don't want them anymore.
Right. You turned me off.
Exactly. Right. Then they want to go out there and they want to cheat and they want to find a quote unquote real man.
Right.
Right. Because we have so effeminized men in our society. And so it's, again, the funny thing is that women have been protected from the repercussions of their bad decisions, but they can't be protected from the repercussions of the bad decision that put men in a secondary status of society. Right. But the problem is that no matter whether you're a conservative, social conservative traditionalist, or a left-wing Marxist radical progressive, the one thread that binds them, that they both agree on, is that men are disposable. Progressives believe that men are disposable in the workplace and in academia, right? And we've seen the negative results of that. And conservatives believe that men are disposable because they believe that they should be drafted and should be sent off to war to die.
Absolutely.
Right? That men should lay down their lives to protect women.
We've gotten rid of millions of men.
So men are in a pincer situation where progressive feminists are taking our jobs.
Yeah.
Conservative traditionalist women would send us off to war. Right? So equality, ladies, would be a big step down. Equality would be that you go to war.
Right.
Equality would be that you get drafted.
Yeah, some women want that. I mean, I think it would only be fair if we have to have conscription. We might as well have it for everybody.
I don't think anybody should be conscripted. I wouldn't do that to women, even though I think that while that's equality,
do it to us.
No, I don't think that sending.
Not entitled. Don't you worry.
The last thing we need is more meat for the war machine to grind up and turn into hamburger. I wouldn't support that. Even if it is equality, doesn't mean that it's right. doesn't mean it's fair. Because what we really need to accept and acknowledge is that we're not equal.
We're not.
We're not.
We're
And
not.
but the problem is that if you want to have your progressive cake, right, you don't get to have the traditional eat it too. If you want to go and you want to compete against me in the workplace, you better offer to split the bill. Okay, right? And
I'm definitely all about being
right.
Dutch.
And if you want to post, and if you want to be on, if you're gonna be a radical traditionalist, and you're gonna say that women need to conform to this lifestyle and submit to their husbands, then I better not see your ass on Instagram.
Exactly.
Thank you. All right, that's it. That's all I got to
Drop
say.
the mic.
Are we done? Drop the mic. If you thought that was an excellent little freedom right there, then I'd love to have a little donation in the tip jar before we go. All of the donations this week go to Save Our Calvin. Have you enjoyed the show? If you did, drop a little bit in our kitty for our puppy. Do you like Stephanie? Do you like having her on Fridays? I think it's a great fun show on Fridays. Yeah.
People want me or not.
For sure. The Titanic, John Knox had a great one. He says, the Titanic is a horror movie. I don't know why women like it so much. Oh, wait, I do. All the men die. Very funny.
Get all of our resentment out.
Yep. Good to see you, good to see you, Jacob Champion, my old friend. Amanda's here with us today. Quest Fanning, John Knox, all of our good friends. Jamie Murray Pope, is great to see her again. Nomad John, she's here with us, as well as Brian Lewis, Chris Morrill, and who else? Joni Rankin. A lot of our friends that are today. Appreciate you all very much.
Is it already time? Oh my gosh.
Past time.
Yeah.
It's past time. Yeah. Did you guys see all the new products on AP for Liberty Shop, by the way?
Got more cooking right now. This weekend, we're going to be cooking up a really cool thing.
I know. We're working on some awesome new items for you.
Mastermind.
We've got our new big project. It's Stephanie's mastermind that she's going to have. It's her little project. Hopefully we'll be donating, getting it to you soon. Doug H says, great week of shows, and I enjoyed the limited commercials. Give Calvin a big hug. Yeah. The more super chats we get, the fewer commercials we can do. That's for sure. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Commercials, I used to hate on TV. I'm a compulsive channel switcher, so I'm like,
We'll always
I change the channel.
Right. We'll always have some commercials just because, like, sometimes I have to go pee, right?
I know.
Or I have to, if a guest is remote, right? Then I have to go get them.
Right.
So I play commercials in order to, like, get the guest and put them in the frame and do all that technical
So you're human. Okay.
Right, but you don't want to miss all the awesome new stuff that's on the AP for Liberty shop. We put a bunch of new stuff on there. Nathan's over there right now working on some as well. We're just blowing it up on the shop, and we're going to be adding all kinds of new products, Founding Fathers style products, and Stephanie's new project I think you're going to really love. Yeah, for sure. It's very exciting. Don't say what it is. But visit apforlibertyshop.com as soon as the show is over. Don't you dare say what it is. Have them guess. Okay, guess what it is. All right. So in the tradition of no commercials, we'll put some commercials up as we go. So it's a nice way to just end the show as we go on. All right, say goodbye, Stephanie. Say goodbye. Appreciate you all very much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on Monday on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupamericashow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupamericashow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupamericashow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.